Hey, hello, and welcome to this episode of Learn Everyday English, your roadway to English proficiency. Hey, I got another one of my cool hats on, as you can see today. Decided to change it up a bit, make it a little bit different. And I'm just going to have a brief video. This is not going to be very long at all. I just want to talk to you about an incident, something that happened to me this morning when I was going out to take care of some personal business. But before I get into this story, there's 3 things you can do for me. Hey, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and 3, tell your friends about it so that they can benefit from these videos too, just like you. Let me point my finger, just like you. Okay. Well, the title of this video is, I think I'm going to say don't assume, because in English we have an expression about the word assume. And assume means like you have some kind of idea, or we say preconceived idea in your mind about how something is supposed to be, how something is supposed to work, and we make assumptions. We make assumptions about a lot of things. We make assumptions about people. Make assumptions, say, about companies. We make assumptions about how life should be. And sometimes our assumptions are right, but sometimes our assumptions are wrong. Or when we assume, sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. But in English, we say, hey, there's an expression, never assume, because you make an ass of you and me. And that comes from the spelling of the word assume. It's A-S-S-U-M-E. If you take the first letters, A-S-S, that's ass. Ass is another word that can mean like an animal. A donkey can be an ass. But ass can also be your buttocks, or we just say your butt. Your butt or your ass. So you make ass. And then the next letter after ASS is U. That could represent the word Y-O-U, could represent you. And then the last 2 letters of the word assume is M-E, which is me. So we break that up into 3 parts. You make an ass of you, the letter U, and me, M-E. So basically it's saying, hey, don't assume, because you can get into trouble. It may make you look bad. So something happened to me, and I kind of assumed a few things, and I maybe learned a lesson. So here's what happened. I had to go out this morning because I needed to get my Honda Civic registered. And in the United States, you have to register your car once a year so that it can drive on the streets, and then you get we call it a decal or a sticker, registration sticker, that you put on the front windshield, and it's good for 1 year, and it has the month and the year that it's going to expire. So my registration sticker was going to expire the end of this month in September, so I had to go get a new sticker. But also there's a charge for registration here in the U.S. depending on what type of vehicle you have, how old it is, that type of thing. But for my car, it was $74. That's what I have to pay a year. So the process is I have to get it inspected first, and I did that yesterday. Then I was going down to the county courthouse to pay for the registration sticker, but I needed to get some cash. I needed to get some bucks, another word for cash. I needed to get some dinero, as they say in Espanol. And so I had to go to the corner gas store or corner convenience store. So here in the U.S., usually on the corner there's a gas station. A lot of times as part of the gas station there's a store. We call it a convenience store, where you can also get water, some snacks, that type of thing. But inside the convenience store there is an ATM machine. And I needed to get some money out of the ATM. So I pull in front of the store, and I'm going to use some to show what happened. This is my car. I pulled into the parking space in front of the store. I parked like this in the within the lines. I went in, got my cash. As I was coming out of the store, trying to get into my car, and the door of my car was over here, kind of where this up front, where this green dot is. And I looked, and next to my car there was another vehicle parked like this. It wasn't straight. Whoever parked it didn't do a good job, and it was kind of almost touching my car. I couldn't open my car door to get in my car. So initially, I said to myself, I said, boy, what's going on here? This person doesn't know how to drive. This person doesn't know how to park. Who is this person? What's the problem here? Then I looked inside the car. There was a person inside the car, and it was a older or elderly lady. And I didn't say anything. I didn't get mad. I was kind of upset in my mind, and I was a little bit irritated. I wanted to say something. But the only thing, I made a motion. I pointed to the space in between the cars, and I made a motion like this, like, hey, I need to get in. I can't get in. And that's all I did. And she understood what I said. And she began to back her car out of the parking space. And then as she backed out, I was able to get in my car, open the door, and get inside. And then she then pulled back into the same parking spot that she was in. But she again pulled in kind of at an angle, but not as bad. But I was already inside my car, so it wasn't a problem. So I was backing out. I backed out, and I was getting ready to leave. And she got out of her car, and she motioned to me. Motion means like she waved. That's another expression. So she waved to me like, hey, wait a minute. I want to tell you something. She didn't verbally say that, just by her hand motion. And I initially made another assumption. I said, oh, who is this old lady? Maybe, I don't know if she really knows what's going on. Hey, looks like she's probably going to ask me for something, probably going to ask me for money. I don't really want to talk to her. But I said, okay, well, she's an older lady. Let me see what's going on. So I rolled my window down on the passenger side of the car. I rolled my window down. That means I put my window down. It's electric windows. I pressed the button and the window came down. But in English we say I rolled my window down so I could hear what she was going to say. And she was very nice. She apologized. She said, oh, I'm so sorry. I parked like that. Hey, my daughter's in the hospital, and I'm just kind of, my mind is not here today. My mind is not with me, and I couldn't really think well. And, I'm driving my daughter's car. I'm not used to driving her car. My car has a handicap placard that allows somebody who's handicapped to park in a special space. So she couldn't park in the special space that she's used to with a lot more room. She said I had to drive my daughter's car. I'm not used to driving it. So I said, hey, ma'am, that's fine, no problem. I appreciate you moving so to let me in. And hey, don't worry about it. And she said a few other things, apologized again. And she was very nice and kind. So I thought about that later, and I said, that wasn't good of me. I made some assumptions. When I first saw her car blocking my door, I made an assumption that this person was kind of stupid. They didn't know how to drive. They must have some problems or some issues, because who's going to park like that? Nobody parks like that. And I was wrong to do that. I was getting a little bit irritated and upset and mad, and I kind of wanted to say something, like, how can you park? How can you do that? And I didn't do that, and I'm glad I didn't. So that's the one assumption I made. I made assumptions about her character, who she was. And then when she came and wanted to talk to me, I made a second assumption that she wanted to ask me for something like money. But instead of that, like I said, She just wanted to say she was sorry and let me know what was going on in her life. So I felt kind of bad. I felt a little bit small, we say in English, that I was jumping to conclusions. That's another expression. I jumped to conclusions. Like in my mind, in my heart, I kind of made a deduction or conclusion that this was what was going on when it wasn't actually true. So I jumped to conclusions about her and what she wanted. So I wanted to make this video to let you know that. So try not to, and I wanted to say this because a lot of times we don't know what people are going through. We don't know what people have to deal with. I'm sure she is very distraught, maybe very bothered by her daughter being in the hospital. I don't know what was happening with her daughter, but obviously it was serious enough to affect her emotionally and mentally. So I say that to say this, before you get upset with some situation or somebody, you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they're dealing with. Maybe they're dealing with a death in the family. Maybe they're dealing with a serious illness. Maybe they just lost their job. Maybe they're having problems with their kid or child or husband. Maybe they're getting a divorce. We don't know. So we have to be aware of that, and maybe we think twice before you speak, before you get upset. Take a deep breath and relax. So I just wanted to pass that on to you before we jump to conclusions and start assuming and making an ass of ourselves, making an ass of you and me. We need to stop, be quiet, and listen. So that's the video for today. It's going to be short and wanted to pass that on to you. So thanks for watching the video. Hey, like, subscribe, and tell your friends. And have a good rest of the day. And weekend's coming up. It's a Friday. So have a good weekend wherever you are in this blue marble, I like to call the world we live in. And we'll talk to you later on Learn Everyday English. Hey, goodbye.